So I talked to her, and she had been an ER doc and then had been promoted to be a hospital administrator. And for a variety of reasons, it had been a couple years, like a few years, where she had been really miserable in her job. One of the main reasons was that, an ER doc, it's like shift work. So, you put in your time. Once you're out of the hospital, you leave your work behind and you just go and do your life.
Sure.
Whereas when you're an administrator, it's kind of 24/7 emails, texts, like calls, stuff that you have to attend to. And she didn't enjoy that aspect of it. She didn't like having to bring her work home. And particularly, she felt like it was interfering with her relationship with her kids. So she was miserable.
Mm.
So she's telling me all of this and explaining this. And so I said, well, okay, but then I'm just curious because you have this other job offer, and the other job offer was with an insurance company to evaluate cases. I said, why are you asking me anything about quitting? Like, you're clearly miserable. And she said two things. One is, like, I've put so much, 15 years of my life into training for this job. So that's, very typical
Sunk
sunk
cost.
cost. But then she said something really, really interesting. She said, well, what if I take this new job and it doesn't work out and I'm unhappy there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's where we can see this big problem with loss aversion. So I said to her, oh, this is very interesting, right? Because she's clearly miserable in the job that she's in, but she's not seeing it that way, because loss aversion, when we worry about what if it doesn't work out, it's about things we're starting. And the job that we're already in, we don't think about it as starting it fresh every day. It's just sort of the thing we're doing. It's like the status quo. So loss aversion is asymmetric. Like, it gets recruited into these decisions to start new things, but not into the decision about whether to continue doing the thing that we're doing. So now we were seeing this with her. So I just said to her, to try to get her to focus on expected value, I said, well, okay, so if you imagine it's a year from now and you stay in the position that you're in, what do you think the probability is that you're happy? And her answer was 0%.
Right.
Because she knew she'd already been really unhappy for a long time. She tried everything. She talked to her bosses, so on and so forth. Right? She'd already done all the things that you would do to try to figure it out. So I said, okay, 0%, that's low. So if you take this new job, what do you think the chances are that you'll be unhappy if I check you out in a year? And she said, well, I don't know. I guess maybe it would be 50-50. And I said, well, is 50% greater than zero?
Right.
And she said, yes. And she actually quit her job that week. And last time I checked in with her, she was really happy.
Yeah.
So basically, I was just trying to get her over, this loss aversion. Like, when you quit things, you're usually considering starting something new.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking so much about just the possible losses, like it not working out from the new thing you're starting, in a way that you're not thinking about it not working out in the thing you're already doing, that combined with this fear of wasting everything you've already put into it makes it really hard for us to switch to new things. But once I put it in terms of expected value, look, I assume your goal is to be happy. What's the probability of that happening on the path you're on versus the new path? It allowed her to see the decision more clearly, and then she was able to quit.